Hello and welcome back to Working Title. I'm Ryan Fring with the BitLife Show, and doesn't this look pretty? Today we're talking to Jayson Moyer, who's a local director now, but who back in the day was a pretty big shot director. Actually, we talked to him about that and his experience of going from school to directorial stardom, where he's working for big brands, to really finding, what he wants to do with his life and come home to take care of his family. But it was a really good conversation. I love Jayson. He's such a cool guy. Yeah, let's do the thing.
How much of a gearhead are you? Are you like a lot or a little?
I'm in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah. I do it when I need to be.
Sure.
But I do. Now it's because I have to. Before I didn't really need to. We didn't have all that gear, and I was in a position where I didn't need to know that stuff.
You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. Now I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's that difference like? Because you did big commercials.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Or giant or.
Yeah. Like Ford, Chevy. Like.
Yeah. So that's as big as they get.
Yeah. I mean, our budgets were $1.5 million for a commercial.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for one commercial.
Did you ever have to just figure out how to fill a budget? Like, I don't know, put something on that.
Dude, I have the coolest juicer and fucking... we did a Ford shoot, and I used to be like vegan, fucking everything was... Can I swear? Is it cool?
Absolutely.
Okay. Should I look there? And so I had a badass juicer. We were shooting in...
Is this for like craft? Like you required a
yes.
badass juicer for
Yeah. And I had a juice intern. And we were shooting wherever, I think it's in Tennessee, NASCAR, like the NASCAR where all like Roche and all those guys. And that's when, what's his name?
Yeah, you're talking to the right people. We can probably think about this.
Yeah.
NASCAR. There's that one dude and then somebody junior.
No, it's not Junior.
Jr.
Yeah, no, it's the guy, and he's super.
I
he was a super rad guy. I did a couple spots with him. He was big. He does like, I think he's now.
Is this
Subway.
a driver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt
Kenseth?
No. Well, I did something with him also. It was Matt Kenseth, two other dudes, blonde, Dale. Dale
Earnhardt Sr.
No.
If it was Dale Earnhardt Sr.,
who's the other guy?
That would be bad because Dale Earnhardt Sr. died about 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, I feel bad because
he was doing this when he was a small child. He was a prodigy.
Yeah.
Prodigy child.
He was like the nicest fucking guy ever. And
I know Matt because I went to school with his cousin. Went to high school with her. Matt Kenseth. Matt the Brat, he's from here. He's from the area. He used to go. Yeah, he used to race in the MIS, Mass Internet Speedway.
He's a really cool guy.
This is a NASCAR person we're talking about.
Yes,
I knew that.
Matt the Brat was his nickname.
Who?
Carl Edwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was super rad, super badass. Really. And the interesting thing is because these guys know timing so well that when we were doing the dialogue or the VO or anything, I'd say split the difference. Literally, you could just... They'd say they were coming in at 24 seconds, and I'd say split the difference. They would do it at 12. So then I started fucking with them to see if they could do it. Dude, they were amazing.
Yeah, I suppose you have to have like that ingrained in you, right?
Yeah,
every
seconds.
Yeah, second, and every just little bit of tweak counts. And is the difference between winning a race
and losing
and spinning out and dying.
Yeah,
that's about all.
So
the
difference between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Sr. I'm sorry, that's a bad rip.
That's sad.
That is sad.
Did he die driving?
Yes, he did actually.
You're bringing this up, and we're probably gonna get emotional.
Well, that's okay because I have final say on the end of the episode, so I guess I'll just cut that part out. It's okay.
This juicer though.
This is great water. Yeah, so I had a juicer. So I've got a badass juicer.
So was that like? What was that like? Were you big wig, or was that just a scale and you got to be a part of it, and so that was just a part of what it was like, or
no big? I mean, for 5 years, I was in the top 10 like commercial directors in the world, and I would bid against Spike Jonze and all those guys, and I mean it was awesome. But
what does that feel like when you're bidding against maybe people that you idolize or love their work or?
It was awesome, and it was hard.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice feeling to know that you're in that world and that's the sandbox you're playing in.
Sure.
And then you're like, fuck, when are these guys going to do a movie? Because when they do a movie, then they're off the scene. And so they're not bidding.
Person.
Yeah, they're not bidding. So once they go and do a movie, you're like, okay, fuck, there's going to be at least he's out of the game, and then there's some new guy from Canada or something will come and you're like, shit, who's this guy?
And the other 20 people just like you who are hoping for them to be gone, so that way now you're like, okay, now's our chance. Oh, no, now there's all this. Oh.
Yeah.
This is Max. He's our audience.
Hey,
live studio audience.
It's the live audience.
He's well lit and everything, so that we can see him. Look at that smile. It's not how people laugh at all. Also, this.
Lots of hand motions.
Are they just more people just going to trickle in
That's
throughout
right. It's not going to be disruptive at all.
That's awesome.
No disruption.
So what? How did you get there? Because obviously you just don't come out of the gate doing that.
In a weird way, I kind of did. I went to.
Fine. Get the fuck out. You don't even have to.
Good show. Oh, now we're censoring ourselves. Okay.
Everybody, listen carefully because this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, but this was back in the day, though. This was old school. Well, I went to art center.
But you're not. You say back in the day in old school, but you're not that much older than me, are you?
I might be. I had spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, so I got the pearl cream.
Nice. You're like, I'm 60.
Yeah.
You can't tell, but I'm 60.
Welcome to Guess Our Guest's Age.
Well, I juice babies. That's what that juicer's for, is I juice babies.
Yeah, that's the secret to life. And terrible.
This conversation gets weird.
I can see you. Zoom in on that.
It's okay, that's 4K. I'll just do it right now.
Yeah, do it in post. That's what we're here for.
Oh, that was, okay, awkward.
So this is back in the day.
Back when you would shoot on film. You'd shoot on film. And so I went to Art Center in Pasadena, and I did 2 test spots because I wanted to be in advertising. Everyone else they wanted to be filmmakers, and I knew I wanted to shoot spots. I'd worked at Wieden and Kennedy in Tokyo for a little while, so I wanted to shoot commercials. So I knew I wanted to do that, and I knew I wanted to travel. Mm-hmm. So I did 2 test spots when I was a student.
Is that like a spec? Like
yes.
Yep.
Testing
it out.
Yep. Test spot. And so I shot these 2 test spots, and I had a little bit of money left over, so I went to Amsterdam.
Wait, you got money for your
spots? Well,
like through the school?
Yeah, like scholarships and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And everything was going to change because Panavision, Kodak, they gave us like these packages, and so you got a camera and some film and all this other shit and stuff. And
what's the film for? Don't you just need a camera?
Well, you used to put it in the camera. You'd shove all this film in the camera.
Wait.
Yeah,
right,
it looks cool and it sounds really neat. Yeah, just it's really cool.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
then you slide the SD card in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all captured.
Yeah, I bring one of the ladies that make like tapestries, and I bring them on set with their sewing machine, so it sounds like there's film in the thing, and just.
Nice.
These are the things that you can do when you have these giant budgets that you have money for. Yeah. Apparently, it's just we're gonna hire.
Here, take this. All these things.
We're gonna forego the film and just carve everything out of stone.
Oh man,
all of the
etchings. We do etchings.
Yeah, we do etchings here.
Yeah.
That's what
like
we do.
Moving pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. Prints. It's amazing.
It's really expensive.
But then you use a stop motion app, and it's cool.
That's great. On your phone.
Now we're doing everything on our phones. I'm gonna go back to film on my phone. Just get like a little canister back here.
You could do it.
That'd be pretty neat.
16 Super 8.
That'd be really neat.
Man, Instagram.
$1 million idea.
Here you go. 1 frame at a time.
So you went to Amsterdam.
I went to Amsterdam because I thought to myself, I have X amount of money. It was like maybe $1,200 or something.
Okay. Which back then was like
huge.
30
Yeah,
grand.
Exactly. And if these test spots don't work out, I am totally fucked. So I want to travel as much as possible. and see as much as I can. So I went to Amsterdam with a really good friend of mine, and then we went to like Budapest and just did sort of this European trip for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. And then I came back, and I was walking on campus to go get my new schedule for school, and I saw some people like, "Hey dude, fucking right on, congrats." And I'm like, what the fuck? And it turns out that I had been nominated, and I won out of 3 categories, 2 categories at the Clio Awards.
Oh, wow.
And then I won the Best New Director at Cannes. So as I was a student, I was then picked up by a production company, and I'd fly to New York and San Francisco and shoot commercial. I was like Doogie Howser. And so I'd be working for real, like legit. So I'd be in my class like, fuck, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. I got a juicer. And but I graduated because no one in my family ever graduated from college, and I thought it'd be really important for my grandparents, so I graduated. But so it was kind of, in a weird way, it was kind of, I didn't start out as a PA, and I didn't do that thing. I kind of went straight from student to
professional.
It was actually this weird unprecedented
like Tony
thing.
Hawk, like you'd be in class and then like skating professionally and making millions on the side, and then come back to class and you're like,
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And that lasted for a little while.
Tony Hawk, very topical reference.
yeah, man, play those video games from the 90s.
Hey, they were great games. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, 720
Yes, that's
with
right.
a fucking swarm of bees.
Yeah, but
is that like a Wu-Tang reference?
Those games are so fantastic,
Yeah.
though. It got so ridiculous. You could do like 960. I don't know what's next. 900. Oops.
I'm pretty positive the human body cannot do that.
No. He did just do. Is the 720 the move that he invented?
Yes.
Yeah, he did just do one as a 40-something-year-old man.
Yeah, I saw that. That was badass.
That's cool. And he's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Moving on.
They're actually having their 30-year boat. I don't know if you guys skated. That was kind of my childhood.
I played the skating games.
Okay.
Okay.
I was fat.
So that makes me legit, right?
It totally makes me legit.
You can play the games too.
That's why I was fat. I
We
played
can
the
all be
games.
friends No, we didn't.
Welcome to the self-deprecating hour with Jeff. That's what I do.
But the Bones Brigade, which is the original like Powell team, it's their 30-year anniversary this year, and they're having some crazy.
They still skate?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Really?
It's insane that those guys still. I mean, I'd try to get out of bed, and I'm just like, dude.
I was standing up for like 4 hours today, and I started feeling it in my lower back. And I was like,
Getting old.
Yeah.
Can't stand anymore.
give me a film camera.
Let me sit down. Can't sit anymore. I'll lay down. Can't do that really much.
So what was that like, being kind of like Doogie Howser, you're still in school and somebody's still grading the stuff you're working on,
right?
And you're getting paid, money, and having your own juicer on set for spots for,
it was awesome.
Big clients.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I to be honest though, I think looking back at it, it was a bit too much. I wasn't well managed, and I didn't have people looking out for me in my best interest. It was really weird. I mean, there was some weird. It was pretty weird.
Was that generally from like a production standpoint, or even beyond that into like personal?
Beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah. To infinity and beyond. But in a production world, also I was working on a job, and all the creatives were super cool guys, really rad. The job was fun, and we were shooting in the Valley in LA, and I was living. I don't know if I was living downtown then. I don't remember where I was living, but it was it's a long commute to get from the Valley to LA proper. So we had shot everything. All the live action stuff was done and it was completed, and then we had to do the product shots. And I just kind of went up to the creatives and said, hey, you know what? My DP's super rad. You guys know what you want. I'm out. I don't want to get stuck in traffic. I'm going to bounce. And they just kind of looked at me. And then I told the producer that was on the job, I said, you know, I'm going to bounce. The DP's got everything set up. The creatives are cool. They're going to run the camera. I don't want to be stuck in traffic. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's insane, dude. Like, I told the creatives and like the client, like, hey, I don't want to sit in traffic. This is your product. I don't really give a shit. I'm out.
You guys got this. You don't need me anymore. But pay me.
Yeah. But and I didn't get like reprimanded, and no one told me like, hey, that's not cool. And you know, like conference calls, there's certain things that you don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, conference calls are fucking crazy. They're hard. And if you don't know and you're not managed and know how to have a proper, good conversation and call, I mean, you lose a lot of jobs.
Sure.
And, you know, you just, the world of advertising told me I was, you know, in that top sort of field. So I would just
do what you want.
Said whatever I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes not so smart.
Now, is that looking back? Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, and it's, you know, very useful. But is that what you think kind of started leading to you getting out of that, or?
I think what got me out of it was I had this preconceived idea and notion of what my life would be. That once I started making money, that I would be happy.
Oh, sure. And
I wasn't happy. I actually was more miserable. I was making more money than I ever imagined in my life. And I was miserable. You know, I'd sit at home. I'd go out with my friends and we'd drink and have dinner and whatever. And then I'd come home and like listen to fucking Joni Mitchell or fucking Fleetwood Mac and get drunk by myself because I was just
trying to deal with it.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, I'm supposed to be this big, crazy, amazing thing, but I wasn't internally happy. You know, I thought that my entire life growing up poor, and then all of a sudden I have the entire world sort of at my disposal if I wanted to, in that like advertising, you know, I mean, advertising world is super weird.
Yeah. And
you know, what they feed you and the way you think the world is and just the egos and all that. And so I thought, you know, I had a brand new car, motorcycles, a huge loft in downtown LA, beautiful girlfriends. And I'm like, dude, this is rad, hanging out with rock stars and actors and shit. But I was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
So I bounced, I walked out, and I left.
You just, at some point, you just were fed up with it, and you just said sayonara?
I moved to Thailand.
And I think you'd mentioned this before, like you dropped off the grid. You just
I went to Thailand and was doing a little bit of production over there. But in a weird world, I've always been sort of interested in like Buddhism and Eastern philosophies and stuff like that. And then I became a Buddhist monk, and I just kind of got off the grid and disappeared for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, how long were you a Buddhist monk for?
I was
like robe and all, or
yeah. And that was in Vietnam. So I lived in Vietnam and lived with monks and went through the whole ceremony and was initiated to like a Theravada Buddhist. But I didn't become like a full-on monk. Like there's
so like a transitional or something.
Yeah, like there's say 8 precepts that you have to take.
Is everything okay?
Everything's fine. Okay. Nothing to worry. Just want to make sure we could hear you guys. That's all.
Thanks.
And continue.
Yeah, so there's like these 8 precepts that you have to take, and I wasn't ready to. I thought, oh, maybe someday I'll meet a nice girl and fall in love, get married. So,
sure.
So that's a nice hope to keep alive, and I didn't want to give up all my worldly possessions. It's not like I have a lot, but I wasn't ready to do it. Yeah. But that helped with the filling that void of unhappiness that I had.
Yeah, was there
Sorry, is this a weird turn for these kind of podcasts?
No, actually, I mean this is much more interesting. Like, I don't know, talking about nerdy production stuff is really fun. But,
and I can if you want.
But I think it's more interesting to hear, like the story of the person and why you are who you are and how you got there. I mean, that's a lot more interesting than
I guess
freaking polarizing filters. And you can read about that crap on the internet.
Sure. Yeah.
However, we are going to title this episode "The Polarizing Filter Episode."
There you go.
Just
the polarizing effect.
The
polarizer.
Effect. Yeah, I like that a lot. See, all those years of advertising.
Right.
Just,
exactly. Boom. Taglines. I can throw that
gold.
shit out.
That's it. He's naming every episode from now on. I know we've spent the last 26 episodes naming the episodes the name of the people on it, but nope, we're coming up with titles now.
This one is going to be Jayson Moyer, The Polarizing Effect.
Not the son of Jay. We went over that in the beginning.
Oh man, there's so many parts to this episode.
He's not. His name is Jayson, so naturally you think he's the son of Jay, like I am, but my name is Ryan, so that doesn't make any sense. But he's not.
I'm not. So I'm just Jason.
You look at people who come out when they're young into the industry, or when they're older, like Steve Carell was older when he started his career, and he's always been a very private person and has been able to maintain that. And there are other large actors who've also been able to maintain a modicum of privacy, and I think it's partly how you behave when you're out in public.
Yeah, no, totally. And then I think a lot of it is management, handlers, and who you are. If I went, it's that weird fucking analogy or whatever it is, the old time guy. If I knew what I know now back there, you know what I mean? But it's like back then I didn't know, even though I was at an age where I was an adult in age, but my world experiences and the things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to experience all this shit that you see, and then you see behind the curtain, and you're just like, dude, this is fucked up.
But you need those experiences because even if you were told that information, told that knowledge of what you know now to you back then, your back then self would be like, whatever, I don't care. You're not gonna probably believe it. Because you need that experience to actually be like, oh yeah, that is right.
But I think there's got to be an interesting way, and that's kind of where my headspace has been. How do you navigate to someone, like now, I've got interns and guys that work underneath me, and so I try to take my experience and my knowledge and tell them. But I remember when I was their age, and I was just a punk kid. Oh, fuck you, you don't know. And no matter what it was in life, fuck you, you don't know. But I do, and they did, and there's still certain people in my life where they told me something, and I was like, you're not my dad, you're not so and so, don't fucking tell me. But I regret it, and so now it's like I try to figure out how do I navigate sort of conversations and helping these younger guys that work, with me, so they understand, and I have, we'll be out shooting, and no matter what you do, you hate your job for a fraction of a certain time. No matter what it is, the Rock is probably like, dude, fucking another barbell. I don't want to lift this shit again. It's like, I just want to eat cake, and watch the Golden Girls. Fuck this. And
to be fair, the Golden Girls are amazing.
I could actually completely picture him doing that too. Actually,
I would do it with the Rock.
Big, huge muscles sitting on his couch.
Just watching fucking B. Arthur.
Like, oh, I love this one. This is the one where the boyfriend comes over.
And, so I try to, like, with these guys, like, when they're pissing and moaning, or we went and shot at this foundry where there's hot metal and, and it looks rad and, visually it's off the charts.
But you're probably sweating balls.
Yeah, it's super hot, and there's these guys working there, and, so, like, when we're done, like, listen, like, our job doesn't suck. Like, there's days where things suck, but dude, you could be here. You could be working here. It looks rad through a camera, but you could be here working and have 3 kids and trying to like make your mortgage or your rent or whatever it is, so shit ain't that bad. We're out here, someone's paying for us to have lunch and shoot this.
And you can go home at the end of the day.
And we get to go home.
You don't have to come back tomorrow unless it's a multiple day shoot. I get that. But still.
Yeah.
So did you have like role models or anything at that period in your life that could help out? Or
no? And that's the problem, is I never had through my entire life anyone that I could like go to ever. Like my dad was, my mom and dad, they were never married. He bounced and went out to San Francisco. I'm from Baraboo originally, and he was from Baraboo, and then he went to San Francisco and so he was never really around, and I never had any sort of like positive adult role model except for like my grandfather, but he's old school, like Norman Rockwell, just kind of like keep your shit together and don't emote, don't you know. I saw him kiss my grandmother on the cheek once on their 50th anniversary. That was it. You know.
Lock it up, son.
You're not human.
What is that? There'll be a time for emotions later when you're alone.
Exactly.
You can have emotions when you're dead, honey.
I mean, to be fair, that was how that generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, a lot of them ended up dealing with the problems.
That's how my grandparents were. I think I ever saw my grandparents hug or even hold hands.
Right.
Like nothing.
It's
No
insane.
contact.
It's crazy.
They had separate rooms. They slept in separate rooms all together, and there was. As an adult, there's a part of me that's like, how did you have kids? Because apparently you guys never spend time or touched. It made you awkward.
It's super weird.
Yeah.
You know, but then you see what the world is now in relationships. You know, and I'm single. I've never been married and don't have kids, anything like that. But I see the relationships that my friends are in, and I'm like, dude, and they're my age, you know, and like you guys are like fucking acting like junior high kids and the shit you're putting on Facebook and this, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like you have kids and you're bitching about your kids and what your kids are doing, and you're acting like a junior high kid and talking shit on Facebook where they can see that. What kind of role model's that? You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good point, and I think about it all the time too. With like, you know, when you're an adult, right?
Right.
Because for our grandparents, you know, it was like, well, you're 12. So you're a man now, so man up, and you're going to start working at the factory or the farm or whatever,
right.
And you're going to start being a man now. Whereas, you know, now it's kind of like, well, I don't know, you graduate when you're 22, and then you got to kind of start taking responsibility, and then you're 30, and
maybe by the time you're 45, you've learned what you're going to do and be an adult at that point, unfortunately. Some people do.
And so that, you know, I think that is totally true. Like, you do see a lot of that, I don't know, kind of younger attitude in the older generation, or in our generation, because, you know, of what they went through. They're still kind of in somewhat of an adolescent, you know, frame of mind, and that's just the way the world is. You know, it's shifted. Like, it's not hard. There are a lot of hardships that people face, but for, you know, majority of Americans, it's easy.
Yeah, and it's a weird though where you don't have to have that, not that it was a great thing, but that Norman Rockwell, or just like, for lack of a better kind of thing, where like men were men, women were women, and it's fine, you know, everyone's got to do your shit, but there's a certain point where you have to just be not even adult, just be responsible, or just get your head out of your ass.
You know, having those role models sometimes, you know, I mean, hopefully it's your parents, because that's the first line of defense. But if not, then an extended family member. And if not, then, you know, somebody around the block. You know, there's movies where it's like the barber, you know, helps raise the kid. Like, you know, the neighborhood guys, like, you know, here, let me teach you how to be a man or a person, or be respectful. But if you don't have that, you know, it can be tough. And I think that gets back to that, you know, child star or, you know, person who can find that success. It's hard to navigate that without, you know, any kind of guidelines. Because if you had seen, maybe not, maybe if you'd seen somebody who'd gone through this and they could provide, you know, an example on how to, you know, be respectful, it might have been simpler for you. You know, maybe not.
No, absolutely. And there was one guy, and still to this day, and I talk to him, and I always thank him. And like I said, I didn't know about conference calls and doing treatments and this and that. And so he brought me aside, because I was, you know, I'm like young. I was super cocky, and, you know, that whole...
I mean, to be fair, they're just like, here's the money because we want you. We need you.
Yeah. And so I was super cocky and just, I'm badass. Fuck you. You don't know. This is a stupid... Your Oreo's gonna do what? Nah, it's cool. I'm done. You know? And so I had one producer who kind of took me aside, and he walked me through the process. No one had walked me through the process. You know, it was just let's get fucked up, let's go spend money, you know, because you just got, back then you had a fuckload of money, you know, and it was, all the jobs were union jobs. It was, you know, like when the big SAG strike happened, that's when things started changing, and then a lot of non-union jobs, and the budgets boom, 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 boom. But before, you know, you're making 15 grand as a day rate, and, you know, you just, it's gonna
what are you gonna do with that? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, you're like
$15,000.
Yeah, for one day of work,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. It's insane. It's stupid. It was amazing, but you know.
That used to be my whole year's salary for like the longest time in my life.
Right? I don't think I've made that much now in like 3 years.
We're gonna turn this around.
Be like, I got $25 extra at the end of this month. I didn't buy a thing, but barely food.
Right?
No.
It's crazy. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. But the thing is like, I still have friends in that industry, and one of my buddies, he's top tier commercial director, fucking miserable. You know, I was out in LA last February, and everyone that I know, like I was out there in February, and I was thinking about moving back out, so I was talking to headhunters and you know, agencies and production companies, and I was gonna go back, but everyone's just, not everybody, but
There's a lot of unhappiness.
there's a lot of unhappiness.
Yeah.
But there's this whole, you know, LA front, everything's awesome.
Oh,
The
yeah,
sun's
the glitz
always
and the
out.
glam,
It's
yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
rad. And,
absolutely.
you know, everyone's,
It's the place.
yeah,
You know.
but everybody's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a bummer. So I bounced.
Yeah. And we have depressing winters. So.
Oh, dude.
I don't like it when the white things
Is
fall.
that? I mean, you said last February, so that's like right in the heart of winter. You're like, probably had to be like, this sucks.
Yeah, well, I
Can't get
learned.
worse.
Yeah, because I've been back now for 3 years, and I now learned that in February I have to leave. Like, it gets, the new voices that come in my head around that time
Yep.
are not invited. You know what I mean? But they just, it's like,
Decide to crash.
it's
anyways.
like Chevy Chase, the Christmas thing where the fucking uncle shows up with
Yep.
the RV and just starts shitting everywhere
Yep.
and doing all this crazy shit. That's like that voice that comes just like, dude, who the fuck are you? You're insane.
Yeah.
How'd you,
You're not
how'd you
staying
get in here?
How do we let you in? You're here with us. Leave me alone.
You know, and it's fucking crazy. It's
Yeah.
nuts. And you just, and plus I was working freelance. I think now, since I'm not working freelance, it might be easier.
Yeah.
But you're working freelance, so it's cold as it's insane. Like literally, like 30 degrees is cool. Even for me to say 30 degrees is cool is not cool. But
it could be worse.
yeah,
Cool as in awesome.
yeah. Like I can go
I
hiking
didn't know how to
in
describe
this.
cool.
You know, like it's KFC cool, you know, or bad. It was KFC bad.
That is now cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you ever like scream on set like, where's my fucking juicer?
I don't scream. I'm pretty chill.
Okay.
I never,
Bob
my
Ross.
thing was, if I wasn't getting what I wanted,
Yeah.
I would take the person that was their counter and bring them slightly off of set. Like, say I need something from you, right?
Okay.
So I'd have you come over here,
And I would.
and I'd be talking to you like this and having this, but I'd say, listen, like, I'm just fucking with him, but I really need to get this shot, or I need to get this, we need this Russian arm for this shoot. So make sure we get this shoot. But I'm just fucking with him to make him super awkward.
So,
and
like,
now-
he's worrying about his job security over there.
Right,
Because you have
exactly.
to have a little
Yeah.
side conversation with somebody
and
else.
so then I'd say, okay, now look at him very awkward. And so then... And then I'd say, okay, we're cool. Now I'd say, okay, now pretend I said something funny and laugh, so we had this bonding moment. And then he feels totally like...
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, he'd be like, oh man, those guys are up to some weird shit. And then next thing you know, there's a Russian arm on set. Not like a Russian arm, but you know, that's...
No, yeah, on a truck.
No, I walk in with an actual Russian's
Yeah.
arm, and you're like, "Oh, that dumbass didn't get what I was trying to
Doesn't
do."
get it.
We're just gonna fire him at this point. At this point, he's
Now,
not even
you pull the
worth it.
counterpart like an underling or
No.
do you- what's
They're
the- what's the
either
counterpart?
either their supervisor, or say if it was like the client, then I would bring sort of the creative director over and talk to the creative director and
like
talk
from
to
the
the
agency
client.
or-
Yeah, and just create this, because I'm super chill and just nice to everybody.
Yeah.
But when I'm not, I'm
You
not.
can have a Ford in any color as long as it's black.
Yeah, exactly. And I can, just I set a tone, and then once you set the tone, then they're like, oh. So I don't need to. There's no reason to scream. If you're screaming, then you're not getting your point across.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good lesson that you learned.
Yeah.
Clearly at some point, because we've heard stories even in town, in the Midwest here, when they bring somebody out, big agency job, and they're like, "What the is this? Get this truck out of And they're like, "You just asked us to move it here. You shut the fuck up. Get out of my face."
Totally.
Right.
Well, the interesting thing though is sometimes I think, depending on your level of intelligence, compassion, and understanding of psychology, if you think yelling is beneficial for you, I would imagine you're a little bit lower on that
Right.
totem pole. And
Oh. Shut up! No, I'm not.
You're the dumb one.
but when I
As
was
far as it
shooting
goes.
in shooting in Southeast Asia, if you lose face in Southeast Asia, you're done. I've seen, I went onto a set. It wasn't, my friend was the DP, and they had an Australian come over, and he was directing, and he lost his fucking shit, and I was like, wow, over something super stupid. And usually they do it so then the client feels like, oh, he's super passionate. He's an idiot. But but when you lose face, he lost face on the set when he wanted anything done, he couldn't get anything done. They just shut, because you goddamn fucking time, fucker, this isn't a fucking, you know what I mean? And he's degrading them.
Yeah.
And then in that culture, once you lose face, you're done. I remember, I was in Vietnam, and this guy wanted to buy cigarettes, and this lady didn't have the cigarettes he wanted, so he started raising his voice and talking shit, and was an asshole, and she just, and all the vendors, sorry, that was horrible, but all the vendors down the street.
Wait, is that how she talked? Like pigeon?
It was code. It was code.
She's
Or
actually.
did she play a little flute?
All right, that's better than my gag, so we're okay with that one.
She's being berated, and slowly this flute is coming out. He's like, "What the fuck?"
She was in the Vietnamese Jethro Tull band.
She is the Vietnamese Jethro Tull.
And they all knew.
Yeah.
They all knew.
It was super, super awkward.
It's on a lanyard around their neck, so it's easy to pull up.
There's the slow. On this leave is that mental image.
Did he get his cigarettes though?
No, but she shut him down through probably
That's
the entire
awesome.
Vietnam. No one would sell him cigarettes because they were just this guy's a
loud
prick.
flute, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a great lesson. If you're a prick, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good life lesson. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Oh
Honestly.
my gosh, and I can't just that mentality. I mean, I get mad, and you got to handle that. How you handle that, but I can't imagine hi, I'd like to buy this. We don't have that. What?
Yeah.
I mean, you're either at the end of your or at the end of your. What's a metaphor? At the end of your
Rope.
Thank you. You're at the end of your straw, trying to get that last little bit of Slurpee.
That's the
in
modern
Vietnam.
slang.
That'd be good. It's got
Slang?
chicken in it, probably.
In the slurp. In the.
He'll do this all day.
I will.
But you got to be, just in a really bad place if that sets you off and you take it out on someone.
Well, that's that's the thing. Also, is everyone's got their shit and everyone's got problems. If someone is blowing up about that, there's a bigger issue at hand. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of in that world that stems from just unhappiness.
Yeah.
You thought you were gonna have this life. There's a lot of pressure as well, and you're just unhappy. So you're just like, fuck, this isn't a fucking latte.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, even.
I stand behind those people and go,
You're
I don't
hoping-
need to order one.
You're like, actually, it was.
It was quite delicious. You might want to get one of those. Thanks.
You're like, yeah, it was a latte with double macchiato.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I give him $1 for the drink that he just gave me, apparently.
I think it's, the
I don't know what I'm
outward,
saying.
the outward attitude is always, unless you're a very good actor and you act all the time, is always representative of the inward, kind of attitude or how you're feeling and all that. Because I know when I get frustrated, with my children, and I'm really in a good place now where I can pause, and taking that pause, I'm like, I'm mad because, you know, there's just so much work to do at work and I didn't get it done, and I'm mad at myself about that.
Right.
You know, or I'm really frustrated with this one thing because I can't figure it out, or it's not happening, or it's too slow, or, you know, whatever. And I'm really frustrated about that. And so the fact that, you know, my son is coming up and saying, hey, let's play. It's not annoying because he's repeating himself. It's annoying because I'm just frustrated, you know.
Right, absolutely.
Outside of that. And so...
But you're aware of that.
Most times, yes.
Right, and you know, we all fall and get slipped out of our lane every once in a while. But since I moved back to Wisconsin, I have noticed that the having awareness or self-awareness, or I mean, that's what it is, just awareness and understanding it and being able to sort of digest it, understand it, make sense of it, process it, and be like, okay, this is cool. I get it, and this is why this is happening. This is the domino effect.
Yeah, being aware.
This is how everything is. This is how it's interconnected. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of that where, you know, I have friends and they're just, you know, they yell at their kids and this and that and do all this, and I don't like to interject myself into people. You know, it's not my world. It's not my thing. But you can see, like, hey, dude, like, you're frustrated about this, and this. What they just did was super silly. And you have these other things that maybe you need to check in on, and that will then make all these other things work out. And that's a hard place and boundary to be when like you're aware of it and you see it and you see what someone's doing, but you can't tell them because they're going to be super uncomfortable and fuck you don't know, dude. You know, but then you see where they use you know, material possessions or drinking or something to fill that void, you know, like say in Buddhism you call it the hungry ghost. It's the ghost, you keep eating you can't fill it. And so you see it and it's hard, and that's a thing that I've kind of noticed is like that awareness it's not as prevalent around, if you will. Since I've moved back here. Not saying like everybody's enlightened out there, because they're not, but in these cultures where, you know, out there everybody's got a fucking therapist. I mean, their dog has a therapist. So here it's still like, fuck you, man, I ain't going to go, I'm gonna go get a suitcase and beer and listen to Van Halen. Fuck you.
That was my Saturday night.
You know, and it's like, your life would be a lot easier if you would just check in for a moment, dude.
Right. Do you think like that experience being a Buddhist monk, like, did that kind of switch you 180, teach you a lot? Like, what, you know, did you learn that there, or?
I think it helped me fine tune it. You know, like say it would be like you drive a fast car and then you go and you do those workshops where you can learn how to drive like a Formula One dude would teach you how to drive a car. So now you can do the J turns and all that kind of shit. So that's what becoming a monk kind of did for me. Like, I knew about meditating, I knew about, you know, the precepts and this and that, but then having, I mean, to be honest, that's actually the one time where I had a mentor and I had someone in my life, my teacher, who took care of me. Actually, the whole community kind of came out and helped me. I had like my little auntie and my Vietnamese grandma, and it was crazy, dude.
She had a flute and everything.
That's how he knew to go to her.
Does Buddhism have that like interconnectedness? Because you were talking about, you know, when we're talking about community and our own thought process and being aware of ourselves, you know, it's about realizing, well, it's because I had this experience and now I'm mad, and so now I'm taking it out on this person or that thing. You know, it is all connected, and that awareness of that is so important.
Absolutely.
Is that part of it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the core of it. Is we all suffer. We all have forms of suffering, and it comes in different shapes and sizes. And if you just know how to navigate and handle that suffering, because it's just, as a human, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like I was saying before, no matter what your job is, you know, The Rock's like, I just want to eat cake and watch Golden Girls. You know what I mean?
I want that cartoon picture. I want that drawing of that so bad.
And so once you kind of deal with that and be like, okay, this too shall pass, and there's a new day or a new moment and stuff like that. But with the interconnected thing, and that's where, kind of going back to that conversation before, it's like, with my experience, I can then, instead of telling these guys like, hey, fucking do this, do that, just kind of either through like a story or just like, this is how, it works, right. And this is how it goes. And I'm not one way or another, but it's just, everything is literally, connected, and, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? I mean, we're connected in a weird way. We're connected. This whole thing is just, and that's the weird thing. Like, what's going to stem from this? You know what I mean? Who knows? We have this podcast, and it's super awkward, and someone's. It's
only awkward because it's me.
But
awkward.
Then what dot is that going to connect?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you never know. It's crazy. I would have, like, say my career when I started, I would have never shot when I shot my test films. But in one of my classes, I had met this guy who still is a good friend of mine, who was a DP who wanted to shoot something. And I was like, oh, I have a couple ideas. And that's where it all kind of stemmed out from, and it's just weird things like, you hear these stories about people, they meet their wife or girlfriend or whatever, and then, oh yeah, I went to this concert, and
random.
And I only went to the concert because my buddy bailed and I had no one to go with, and there was this empty seat, so I saw this chick, and hey, you want to sit? Next thing you know, you're married. It's just those weird moments,
right.
You know what I mean?
And about, walking through doors, like I think we get kind of caught up in, like, especially with many generations going through college and actually getting degrees, like, you have to decide what you're going to do, and this is going to be what you're going to do, and that's going to define everything. There's a sense of that with college, and part of that then kind of encourages, not making decisions. Like, well, I don't know what I want to do, and what you've just described is about, making choices and walking through those doors, and at every point you want to discern what's good and going to be best for you in your life and those around you, and those sorts of things. But it is about, making positive choices as well, and not just sitting back, because it could be easy to, just fall into this, kind of hole of, regret and self-worthlessness, where you're not making decisions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because when you do make decisions, like this podcast today, asking people to come out after work and set up during the day, and all those things, it'd be easy to be like, ugh, let's just not do it. But for me personally, it's so fantastic just to sit down and talk with people.
Right.
And sometimes this is the only time that I can have that type of conversation with people.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I'm like, I have to do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think it's about decisions, and I think as you get older, you learn how to make the right decisions or understand the interconnectedness of a decision.
Yeah, right.
So when you're younger, you make a decision like, I'm gonna get fucked up and bad.
Yeah.
And you just kind of take your hands off the wheel and see what
could
happens.
go wrong. I'm gonna smoke that mercury.
And then you get older and you're like, maybe I'll just have some turmeric tea and
cut back
Fringe.
on the mercury.
That's the muted version of having mercury. Having mercury, have some turmeric tea, and watch Fringe, where their blood is made of mercury.
That's the connection.
Connected.
All back around.
Yeah, absolutely.
circle.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, for me, it's the same with, because I don't, when you work in this industry, it's fun. You get to meet amazing people, but sometimes you're so busy, you get really, really burnt out, and you just don't want to kind of deal. You're like, I just want to go home and have my turmeric tea and watch Fringe.
Netflix. Yeah.
And
That sounds like a great evening.
Right?
I'll be back.
Netflix is where they deliver film to your door, I think.
No, it's
And
In 30 minutes or
CDs.
less.
No, it's
Directors.
DVDs. Dude, remember when Netflix used to delete DVDs to your house?
Oh my! How many people don't even know that Netflix still does that?
Do they still do it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they
still
do?
do have a
Because I
plan.
have a buddy who'll rip it all, and
Uh-huh.
then he uploads it to the cloud.
Really?
Yeah. Wait, I gotta get that access. He's got a lot of movies on there.
But I was
there.
talking to a friend of mine the other day, like, I never thought that a DVD would be archaic media. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never thought that you would see, because I remember going I'd go and look at all the Criterion Collection DVDs, and just like, oh, this looks rad, and this
such
looks,
a good experience.
and it's like when you would go and look at through records and stuff like that, but I never thought like DVDs would be an archaic medium.
Yeah,
they're always like, oh, this is supposed to last like 100 years on this. They're never going to deteriorate. It's like, oh, we're going to have these forever.
But now there's no DVD drive on your computer, so you're like,
right.
So I'm going to get a VHS, I'm going to get a DVD player and my record player and a cassette tape, and I'm going to be like the coolest dude ever drinking my PBR.
Because it's like, I need to play all these devices. I have shelves
Did
of
you
this
say
stuff.
Pinot Noir? You talking about wine there? I think like our generation has it really tough. Like this new crazy thing. How the F do we deal with this? Like I find that, with like phones or technology or whatever, I always catch myself. I'm like, okay, too much. I'm just setting it down. I'm done.
Right.
Whereas I know younger generations, it's less of a unique, novel thing, and it's just, I don't know, this is the thing. Look up stuff or call or text or whatever. That's all it is.
Which is amazing.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. But I certainly struggle with, and I think I see it more in my generation where it's like,
Yeah.
Because we lived in that era where you didn't have it.
Before.
Yeah. So it's still a cool thing.
We also lived before flying cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't. You have one?
Is this going out in the future?
This episode is like 20 years down the line. We're so backlogged.
We
So
also,
by then I look really, you're really young.
younger. Yeah. You got that Benjamin Buttons, don't you? Yeah. You got that Benjamin Buttons.
Telling you.
I got
Baby
that
juice.
Benjamin
We gotta. That's terrible. Gotta get this fan on at some point. So I'm sweating.
Well, for next time's episode will be cool. Apparently,
For what?
next time's episodes.
Yeah. You should take vitamins.
I should.
I've found that when I'm regularly taking my vitamins, I can complete my thoughts.
I can't
much
see
better.
out this eye anymore. It's fine. It's cool.
You
I'm
have
okay.
a stroke, dude.
That'll fix it
That'll fix it. Vitamins.
right now.
I've been going on a 12-year-old strike.
So as we wrap this up,
Right.
what do you have somewhere people can find you on the internets or work? I would love to see some of your early work too. Your award-winning work.
I have JaysonMoyer.com, Jay.
Like Jayson.
Yeah, Jayson, JaysonMoyer.com. So I'm there. And then, I have stuff on Vimeo and
Is your those early
Instagram.
pieces, those spot specs, those spets?
Yeah. There's a Preparation H spot that I did.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
On the whole.
And New Balance, some New Balance ones that I did. And those were the two test spots that I did. So New Balance and Prep H, and that kind of spiraled.
So wait, you're like, you're a good DP, or to your friend, you're a good DP. You want to do something. I really want to talk to the benefits of butthole cream.
Well, I wanted to do something funny, and so the whole
nice.
story is Pinocchio and Geppetto. So Geppetto's sanding his ass, and he's sanding it so hard that he starts sweating, and a bead of sweat drops on his ass, and you see steam come out, and then it cuts to the title card where it's Preparation H, something about relief.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! That was early 2000. You said?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then I did for New Balance. I really wanted to go to India. I had this fascination about India, and my mentor at school was like, don't go, just shoot it here, do a testing. And through looking at books, and I found this book that was about photography studios in India where they put up fake backgrounds and families come and they stand in front of them and stuff like that. And so I created this story where this guy comes in, he wants to get his picture taken, but he only has one leg. And so he comes in and he puts the suit on and he's kind of going like this and so the photographer's got like an old 8x10 with the bellows camera.
So
and
he can't move it.
And he's wearing New Balance, and so he takes off his New Balance sneaker and gives it to the guy in one leg, and I was saying, boop, he's stoic.
That's awesome. It's so crazy and random, but
Right? And it
Gets right to the point.
it got
Works.
it
That's awesome.
spiraled springboarded. It springboarded
It spiraled me down. I mean, at the same
my
time.
career as
Yeah.
I was spiraling down.
I'm starting to think I'm rubbing off on you two. Words are hard.
No. This actually worked.
Oh,
He had 2 points and got confused about which one he was saying.
Yeah, I
just get
didn't know what to
confused
talk
about
about
words.
first.
He
Yeah.
that was a level above us.
way above me.
I can't even comprehend what
Just
just
above
happened.
you.
So, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on.
for
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
JasonMoyer.com and Vimeo, Jayson Moyer.
I don't know. It's either Jayson Moyer or Mr. Moyer.
Mister.
Yeah.
I'll find the correct one.
Sounds
It
like
will
my
be
dad's name.
Yeah.
lower
I think
thirds.
it's all through my website.
Okay.
There's links. I've got those hyperlinks.
on the sidebar on the left-hand
Yeah.
side, a little old school.
HTTP
Yeah.
//www.jayson.
Wait, there's too many
Yes,
S's.
isn't it? Damn, no, they're never gonna get there. Anything else you want to promote? Are you working on any creative projects or something fun?
I'm trying to figure out what to do next, to be honest. I'm in a good, comfortable space now with my current. I work at Discover Media Works here in Madison, and so I get to do creative stuff. I get to shoot. I get to edit. I get to do some cool stuff and meet some interesting people.
You're kind of settling into that.
Yeah. And so now I'm trying to figure out what is my, besides drinking turmeric tea and watching Fringe, like I need something else. So I don't know what that
On film.
Lost.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, but it's not on Prime.
That's true. It's not
Yeah,
on
if
Prime.
it's not on Prime, I don't do it.
It's only on Netflix right now.
Yeah. So I don't know what that next thing is, but I was talking to a friend. I have like an army shoebox. Is that what they're not a shoebox, but
Oh, like the ammo case?
no, like the big boxes that are like at the end of a bed. There's a certain name for them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I don't know what it's called, but I have one of those that's filled with photographs and all these stories and all this crazy shit from all my travels. And so I was going to scan it and do like some weird, like just episodes or fucking web thing
talk
or
about it?
something. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
that'd be
know.
awesome.
Just because there's so many weird, crazy stories from all over. You
Start
know?
your own Jayson Moyer podcast.
Maybe. Yeah. You guys can be my first guest.
Vidcast. Yeah, we're like, hey, we're here to talk about Jayson Moyer's life. What the fuck is this picture? What?
Is this the picture of the?
Is this Mercury?
That's a thermometer, but
Where are you putting that Mercury?
That's an awkward.
Jayson?
That's the name of the podcast. Thermometer butt.
Mercury
Mercury
smoker.
butt.
What about Mercury smoker?
We got to workshop
Mercury
this one.
smoker.
We got a little ways to go, guys. All right. Thanks so much for coming in. It was a real
man.
pleasure. We'll have to do it
Awesome.
again
Absolutely.
soon.
Absolutely.
Not too soon, though. We have to get other episodes in between, even though
Yes.
it'd be really fun.
If it's one
like-
episode between,
It's like the Us and Jayson Moyer show. So,
it's no longer working.
Thank you
title.
so much
Episode
for coming
3. This is his dog Winston.
eating a gopher.
We're now interviewing your
Ground
neighbors.
chuck. Oh my God.
Ground chuck?
That was terrifying. That'd be terrifying.
We're gonna
You could sign us off. How do you want to sign us off?
Thank you.
You continue.
Well, I think if we just pause, he'll just take that awkward just to the next level.
You don't
Because we'll have the awkward pause, and so he's gonna make up for the awkward pause.
I do. There's a huge issue with that. It's like it's quiet. I gotta make a joke. Make a joke.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable with myself.
Hands. I'll make a joke about something.